Okay, let's do one more. Wasn't very satisfied with the game we just had. I was looking forward to like a very challenging game. 1400 is very decent. 1500 opponent, Jin Francis from the Philippines. Okay, that's cool. He plays d4. And again, I don't want to focus too much on theory, even though we played theory last time. Let's play c5. It's a Benoni, but I don't really play this. Um, so I'm pretty much on my own here already after this. And this indicates for me that he's a London player, which are very boring players. No offense. Develops a bishop on a pretty active square and wants to close it up. So that's what I'm seeing. Once again, by going here, the downside of this move is that it's kind of leaving this a bit loose, right? Yeah, so that's something we can consider to put a queen on b6 to attack this. But intuitively, this feels very wrong because we are in the opening and um, we're not supposed to develop our queen first. And because I'm feeling quite unsure here, I'm gonna go for a very, very solid move, knight f6, just develop a knight before a bishop. Very simple, nothing too crazy. And now we have this. Okay, so we have basically gotten us a London structure, sort of. And anytime there's any conflicts in a position, we have to look for checks, captures, and threats, right? Or attacks. So we have a check here, but this is probably easily stopped. We can play this. C3 probably even better. We're helping our opponent, so that doesn't look good. So my calculation ends there. Then we have another option is to take. And after taking, we have either knight takes or queen takes. Let's go through knight takes first. Okay, knight takes. I see these um, pieces on two squares next to each other, right? And intuitively, I feel like a pawn move would be really good there. But I hope it was defended in a way, and it's not really, is it? No, well, it is. Well, let's say the bishop takes because it looks like a free pawn. This pawn is gone, and this whole diagonal is opened for a check, so we can then give a check and then take the, and after something like c3 or knight bd2, we can take that bishop. This square is actually indirectly defended by the queen. So then we have also queen takes. So after pawn takes, queen takes, then we play knight c6, developing with tempo. So he has to move his queen again, which is not a developing move, and we maybe get a lead in development in that case. So I'm all for this. And usually, what I skipped out on was um, thinking about attacks like threats, but I skipped out on that one. I don't see any attacks either because our pieces are still on our starting squares except the knight. But you could consider something like this, but it's something not very considerable in the opening. Maybe later in the game. So now that we took 1 minute and 46 seconds for our last move, which was quite boring for you guys, I could imagine. He takes with the queen. We do as we are told by our selves 10 seconds ago. And now the queen has to find a square. Like he could go back to d1 or to a4. And we already have to think about what we're gonna do. So in a lot of these structures where the bishop is blocked by a pawn, which will probably inevitably will be played, there's an idea of knight h5 taking the bishop wherever it goes. If it goes back, we take on g3. We also see still this weakness here on b2 we could target. We're playing g6, bishop g7. And I quite like that idea. Normally we should go for a center, so d5 is also very good. It looks, but I really like the option of going g6 and bishop g7. g6, maybe knight f3, bishop g7, queen d2. Let's say castles, and then he already has bishop h6. He's actually setting himself up for something great. So I see some downsides here. What about d5? Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm playing way too seriously here. I should have fun. What am I doing? So d5, and now other pieces are actually quite naturally placed. So you would say he's playing in London, but now we are gonna play the London in a sort of fashion like this. Maybe the bishop could go here. Maybe the bishop goes here. Very flexible with this bishop. This bishop clearly belongs here or here. You know, eyeing some things, and well, the queen just needs to wait. Maybe it goes here at some point. And as you can see, I'm taking this opponent a bit more serious because he's 1500 rated. It's pretty decent. And e3. Okay. So maybe bishop e4, bishop e2, close it down, castles, bishop d6, takes, knight c6. It looks very dry and bland, and there's not much going on. Yeah, what to do? We also have bishops f5, bishop d3. Eh. Well, the one looks better than the other, huh? And then after takes, it's also not so happy with that position. So yeah, let's try to be aggressive. I like the one better than the other. And is f4 was my the move bishop f4 f5 a bad move? Probably not, but this is where things are heading. And now we're just gonna develop the bishop somewhere and have a good game, basically. And as you can see, this is not very exciting. This is just the facts, what you have in these London structures, where your tactic is literally boring your opponent to death. Although, here, after playing c3, not very developing, huh? We have d3 pieces in play. He has sort of 3 pieces in play as well. I feel like knight e4 could work out. He cannot take, because then you have this, and after this, take. This doesn't look good for him. So we could already kind of strike here with a good positional move. Knight e4. And as a tactical player, I'm very disgusted in my own play. But yeah, a knight on e4 could lead to a nice play. Yeah. All right, queen a4. So now takes, and takes. So he's playing to recapture like that, which makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. And we have to come up with a way to counteract it. Otherwise, we're just gonna go back somewhere, which is not something we are intending to do. I was planning to play f5, but our position gets pretty weak after bishop g5 and after bishop e7. Okay, it's playable. Takes. Um, it's playable. That's all I can say. But the pin is no longer there. I feel like I missed this move. It's not great anymore. What I have. There's also this move, knight to c5, and after knight c5, protected by the bishop here. What can he do? He could go back, probably. Well, he, let's look at his movability, right? He cannot go there. After knight c5, okay, you could play b4, but then we play a3, takes. Okay, that doesn't look good. um, okay, so here, the rest just looks awful. And what I'm trying to look for is a way to trap the queen here because it's getting very stucky. Hmm. We have to protect the pawn, maybe, yeah? Or do we? Maybe queen d2. Sorry, queen d7. Bishop here. Let's not forget that the knight is no longer pinned and can go here, which is very annoying. Oof. Yeah, things are getting quite out of hand here. There will be a knight here, which is a very normal idea in London. There's a pin here. It's actually looking quite nasty, if I may say so. So I think I have to just give up the knights. There's just so much play for white here that I'm opting to go the easy way out. We take the knight. He has to take back, and now he doesn't have this, so that's nice. What this also does, what I suddenly just see out of the blue, is that we can play. Can we? No, we cannot. I want to play e5, but my knight is pinned, so I can just take, and I cannot take back because my knight is pinned. So let's play. I want to play f6, which is really bad move. It's an awful move. Awful move. It opens up this diagonal. It weakens our king when we castle. But it does have a maybe a favor of having a center. And it discourages the knight to go back. And maybe we can go back like this with the bishop. Looks awful, but it might work. And now we are the ones which are not developing much. Maybe bishop b4, which I missed. Ooh, bishop a3, going after the pawn. Such a bossy play. I think this is sort of theory in a way. Wow. Takes and then takes. Yeah, it's a very nice, sophisticated move. So let's go bishop d7. If it takes, we take back. If he castles here, we can then take, which is not a problem. Am I missing anything here? I don't think so. Bishop d7. Hopefully this is good, but we really have to think how to defend this. These sort of positions when we're getting attacked, we really have to challenge all the lines. Did I? Sort of, but not really. Takes. Uh, I would even suggest taking more time, probably, but I'm too impatient to do that. But we had to respond to that move, and then okay, we still go back to our original plan of playing e5. If he leaves the bishop there, we take it. So yeah, that was a very nice move. I think Eric Rosen has a video on that whole sequence of moves. Okay, yeah. So here nothing is really going on. Okay, you're very tempted to play a6, takes, and then what do we really gain? I would opt to there's not much going on for us, a lot for him. Let him think about these variations and what it delivers. We obviously think that too. We're just gonna simply go either e5 or bishop e7 and then just have a good game. I think e5 is probably more accurate. Just go back, where he takes here and then take, and then he goes back. And then we have the luxury of choosing between e7, d6. uh, or c5 if needed. The rooks belong here, or maybe on b8. I'm not sure. Okay, now we have to choose where we put the bishop. Instinctively, it just feels good to put it on e7, maybe more active here. It's very stable here. So let's just castle then afterwards. And we are getting out of the opening and getting into middle game territory. Nothing that I'm too great of, but yeah, we're gonna give it a good try. And what I'm trying to do here is to keep the tension, but also to handle these types of tensions well. These tensions are obviously here. Okay, see what's f4, f4, f4 weakens what? This diagonal for the king? Yes, but not in this specific case, maybe. Maybe he's playing to f5, but that doesn't look that good. It weakens the king and the diagonal. It weakens also this pawn. It weakens that pawn. But if you take and take, it's not weakened at all. So we leave it here, or we push it. The old going says to take is a mistake. So let's say it takes, and this file is open, right? So I'm just gonna castle here. And if he takes, take, we have an open rook. Can be very active, could be very handy as well. And yeah, maybe f5, but that doesn't look feasible because we just take. Yeah. And now the question becomes, how strong is h3? This is our best piece. It's eyeing down a lot of squares for our opponents. Ooh, did I miss something? I did. I did miss something actually, because this pin is still there, and this is the downside of keeping the tension. It's wow. Yeah, this is a very good move by our opponents, and we don't have much to choose here. We don't have much to choose here. Okay. Okay, I'm slightly disturbed. I'm slightly disturbed. Take, bishop takes. We do have a check here. We can just play this. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. But I forgot the knight wasn't actually that great. Let's still open up our rook to do some function there. Obviously you can take, you cannot take back because, yeah. But now we have to find some counterplay. We need to find some counterplay. So let's say we play queen f5, bishop takes, and queen takes. We do have this threat of mates. He could castle in that case, but then there's could castle in that case. Wow, okay, that's not much. So here, take. Now the rook. Now this pawn has moved from the b to the c. Wait. Here, take, and now the bishop is still undefended and has to go back. Okay, so that's already a sort of a win. So he cannot take this pawn back immediately. We can then try our advantage with this. But this just looks like a good move. Maybe here, but then, oof, that's actually quite nasty. Then we just take. It's not that nasty at all. So let's get. We are definitely worse, but we're trying to defend this position, which is also an art, which is I'm not very good at. So yeah, you can clearly see I'm taking way too much time for every move. Okay. Hmm. Maybe bishop f4. No, if bishop here, probably takes. Bishop d4. Queen here. Castles. He doesn't even do that. Oof. I might get in trouble. I missed this completely too. Yeah, I'm getting outplayed. Okay, so we still have this weak pawn here, but he's threatening to play rook c f1. He cannot play this because the bishop is still there. I assume that he had to take. But if he doesn't take, maybe we could do something with it. So let's go, we go here. Let's say he plays rook here, we go here, check. He has to take with bishop, we take here. And we have the same position what we wanted. I think that's reasonable. He can never castle long because of the bishop. So it's very agonizing for the both of us. It's not easy. Maybe I have to reserve something like this. Yeah, or you could just take, and then this pawn is weak. Cannot castle, cannot castle. So even though we're a pawn down, we make the opponents have a very hard time finding a move. Yeah. But obviously I'm already struggling at this level. Positionally, I would say we're much better actually. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces in the game. And he has 1, 2, 3 pieces really in the game. You know what I mean? Like with this knight, it's not really doing anything except like doing some defensive work. These rooks are unconnected, not really doing anything. I think we actually have quite some compensation for the pawn. I wouldn't say we're much better, but I would say we just have compensation for the pawn that I accidentally blundered. And what I have to work more on is just looking at the pins and why they are significant in every position. Okay, that's a good move. Queen d4. We're checking this d3 square again. And also attacking this knight. Yeah. Also x-raying the g7 square. And he's clearly just playing also. Hmm. So we have to probably move tonight. Where could it go to be useful? It could go here, then he takes. He cannot take there because my queen is protecting it after removing the knight. And so after take, we just down a knight. He goes here. We have to protect this bishop, so we have to probably go here. Yeah, this is not so good. We also don't have really good ways to attack him. I don't see any at least, so we have to go back, I assume. It's very hard to find a move to begin with. And I'm expecting something like rook f1. And then probably that's something like Queen g5, protecting the pawn and protecting the bishop, attacking this, but it's protected by... Oh wait, he has to move the queen, obviously, because otherwise he loses the queen. So if, let's say takes. Yeah. In terms of time management, we are doing awful. And in terms of position, I don't feel so good about the position anymore. If he plays rook f1, attacking the queen, I'm really happy, because then I could take the queen, and after he takes my queen, I can take back with the knight. He doesn't. And he goes back, so I go back to offering some sort of a draw, I would say. And I would actually be quite happy with a draw here. Also, looking at the time, sometimes you just have to give and go. Yeah, so he's probably going for a draw here. I'm not sure, but it looks to be that way. And then we can analyze, see if where we went wrong. Yeah, so draw. Apparently, we had our ways of winning, but looking at the time, I probably should have played more ambitiously. Apparently, yeah. But there was definitely some compensation for the pawn. Let's analyze. And I actually don't want to analyze from the beginning, but from the end. So here went knight e5, which was not good because of this apparently, but I thought, in my idea, I could give this check, and after takes, we are threatening mate here. But we also lose the protection of the bishop, and I did not realize this, which makes it not feasible. So I already know where I went wrong with my thinking. If my position was, let's say, something like this, and now we went, let's say we now went here. Okay. If the position was different and we had the exact same position, and I went here, and then he went rook f1. How do we this? How do we do this triangulation? Okay, never mind. So I'm trying to get the position. Okay, yeah. So I have to do some hustling. So let's say I go here. Let's say he cannot take. He goes back. I go here. Let's say he goes here. What am I doing? Okay, we got the position, but then with the pawn being on h5, then things are much more different, because then I do have this mating net, and you can now not take on g4. So that's very interesting. Okay, engine gives this as the only protection. But he was very scared of this, and obviously that's the reason why he didn't go for it. So this was not a good move. And in the actual game, which was here, the way to continue the game was... Where am I? This never played. This never got played. Okay, I played. Bishop c5, attacking the pawn, and if he goes here now, we just attack the pawn again. Okay, so the whole weakness of this position is the e3 pawn. Okay, great to know. Yeah, and it makes sense to me because you don't really have a way of defending it. All right, now back to the opening. c5. I wasn't really sure if I should take, so it didn't really feel good. Or play queen b6. It didn't really feel good either. So I went for a standard move. Now I took, and I played knight c6 with tempo. Fine. d4. I didn't really like g6 because this would actually make my life pretty hard. Let's say he plays knight c3, bishop g7, queen d2, castles, and then you already have bishop h6, which is probably not that bad by the engine, but it just looks very annoying to deal with because we already have very weak squares. And he doesn't have to do it immediately. He can also castle first or play e4 first. Yeah, it just doesn't look good to my eye. So yeah, this position, it all looks kind of fine. e5 was playable apparently. Oh yeah, obviously I could play e5 here, obviously, because the knight is pinned and cannot recapture. Let's say takes. So that's something I missed, and that's why it was nice to have this pin. So some lack of play here by me. And knight c5 was okay to play, because after queen b4, which actually looked quite nasty, why? a6 takes. Oh wait, the knight is defending that pawn. Yeah. So as you can see, I have lots to work on here. Queen d7 was fine. Okay. And e5 was actually one of the engine favorite moves. And after you develop, I castled. We took, and when queen. What? Engine says it's possible. Wow, obviously it's possible to take because you have mate. I missed this. Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, this is what you should calculate to the end, probably. Wow. Yeah, that's very unfortunate that I missed this. Yeah, I think the time calls for a break, and then we had this position, and we repeated the position. Very funny that I do have the idea here, but not in this position. Yeah. All right. Yeah, and it's all about distraction. You know, if the bishop goes here, it loses connection with this square. So if he does take, we have this. And if he doesn't, let's say he just goes back, you just lost a piece. Also, you're losing the queen this way. But yeah. All right. That's the game. A draw. Very unsatisfying also. But we should stop the recording here.